Hi, I'm Kelsey from Bluesky Feed Creator. In this video, I'll be going through moderation of a feed. That is, how to make sure your feed includes things that you want it to include. I'm going to jump into my daffodil testing feed, which I set up the other day. Be sure to check out our other tutorial, which I'll link below if you want to see the process of setting the feed up. It's this one, and here is how the feed looks in Bluesky. In this video, I will cover approving and denying posts, hiding posts which are already in the feed, manually adding posts, including or excluding all posts from a given user, and using an auto moderator rule to help with approvals. You can make a feed as heavily moderated or as lightly moderated as you like. This one gathers posts based on some key terms and excludes posts based on other terms. Depending on your feed, moderation can be a process of trial and error, which you will see in this tutorial. The order that Bluesky Feed Creator works in is this. It pulls posts in from the fire hose if they meet the inclusion terms. That is the ones in this box here. Then it looks for posts in the fire hose which meet the requires approvals terms, which are these ones here. Finally, it looks for posts in the fire hose and excludes them if they have words in them or if they're labeled in a way that triggers this box, which is the exclusion terms box. So first, let's look at my requires approval queue. And to do this, I'm going to go back to my main dash. And you see I've got 40 requiring approval here. I can just click on that and it will take me straight to the requires approvals queue. So here we have Old Mate Cosmic Daffodil Journal. Now, this is a classic block this user because of their name. It's nothing personal. The feed creator doesn't filter for their handle or their screen name, but there's a higher than zero chance of them cropping up here because check out their URL. So I'm going to block preemptively to save my future self filtering through dozens of their posts. When I block a user, I can block them from this feed or from all feeds. For this one, I'll just block them in this feed. Just takes a second to do this, but you can also close that dialog box and it will carry on. Now I've also got the BBC Radio 6 bot. This one shows up in basically every feed that I moderate, and it's never relevant. I guess it would be if you ran a music feed, but it doesn't ever have pictures of daffodils, so I'll just go ahead and block the user. Remember, I'm not blocking this user with the account that I actually use on Bluesky. I'm just blocking their posts from being shown in my feed. I'll still be able to see their posts, and they'll still be able to see mine, or they could if they weren't a bot. We have got some posts from this person. Same user, both posts. This one looks like daffodils. Happy days. That one can go in the feed. But this one here doesn't actually have a picture of a daffodil. Mentions it in the post, and it's triggered my require approval because they've said narcissus rather than daffodils, plural. So I'm going to deny this one. This one makes me want to allow the user, but because I know that she doesn't always post things that are relevant, in my opinion, I will just allow that post. Let's have a look at Kevin. Okay, here's a great candidate for allowing a user. This poster here, it looks like he's growing these lovely daffodils, so I might see posts from him later that I want to include, but he calls them narcissus, so it's triggered my require approval queue. If I click approve post here, then I can choose to allow the user, and I'm going to do that, which will mean that any more posts from him will go straight into the feed without me needing to approve them. Then we have got some art posts. So we've got this one. It's great. It's lovely. I really like it. And it's been triggered by hashtag Narcissus. But I don't think it belongs here because there are no flowers. So I'm going to deny this post. Before I do, though, I'm going to have a look at his hashtags, their hashtags, and see if any of them will be good candidates for putting in my exclude box. And And I think I actually want to keep all of these because I do keep daffodil pictures, even if they've been drawn. So I won't exclude any of those just now, but I will deny this post. However, here's another art post, which is also going to be denied. And I'm going to grab hashtag Salvador Dali out of here. And I will also put in his name. And I might come back also for the title of that artwork. So this is the spot where I've been keeping all of my like fine art daffodil terms. And I'm just going to go back and copy and paste the title as well, Metamorphosis of Narcissus. And I'll pop that into, I am separating each term with commas. I can also separate them on a new line, like I have here between Hermann Hesse and Caravaggio. I need to remember to save. That will make sure that in case I accidentally refresh the page or go somewhere else, the server still remembers what I have put in. Okay, here's another one with hashtags that I can look at excluding. So this looks very cute. She's got a whole heap of hashtags here, and I'm going to take most of them. When I do this, I still need to exclude the actual post. Now, this is in a format that I can't use, or rather that the feed creator can't use, so I'm just going to put them in with commas to make sure. Oh, I would like to keep the daffodils tag in there. I'm probably okay with hashtag pink and hashtag flower, but necklace, earring, matching set jewelry, gift ideas, they can all be excluded from my feed. Didn't actually need that comma there. It's implied. Next up, we have got this fairy. Oops, I need to go back and deny this post as well. And I'm going to deny Dali. Okay, I know about this fairy. It is called the Royal Daffodil. So I am going to exclude a few things to deal with this, partly because the Royal Daffodil Fairy is currently on display in Liverpool, and so it's been cropping up in my other daffodil feed a whole lot. So what I'm going to put on to deal with that would be Mersey Fairy, Mersey Fairies, and Royal Daffodil. And actually, I've just had an idea, which is instead of including both Mersey Fairy and Mersey Fairies, I can do this. So the wild card there means that maybe there will be a Y there, or maybe there will be an IES there, and it doesn't matter, it will exclude both. It would also exclude things like Mersey ferritin, but that's fine. I'm not too worried about including those. Make sure I click save. Okay. And Darren, let's have a look. Love these. So I approve most users who are clearly posting things that are on topic. I'm always gauging whether I can trust them to be an approved user, i.e., that they won't sully my feed with irrelevant non-daffodil content. But you could be more or less strict than I am, depending on the needs of your feed. So I'm going to approve this user. Okay, so I'm going to leave the remaining. Oh, I need to deny the fairies. Going to leave the remaining ones in there and I'll come back to those later. There are the fairies again, and you can see. So this post was already in my queue when I added Mersey fairies with the wild card, but it would have excluded this one automatically if I'd already had that term in there. Okay. So now I'm going on the hunt for a post. Here we are back on the main site. I am going on the hunt for a post which is already in the feed and I want to hide it. So I found one earlier. Let me find it. Here we go. It's tangentially about daffodils, but not really. Don't think Stardew Valley is really what I'm going for, so I'm going to hide from feed on this one. So back in Feed Creator, I'm going to go looking for what is visible in Bluesky. And I'll scroll down until I find the Stardew Valley post. Here it is. All I need to do is click on Hide from Feed, So now that post is just gone. Great. It's what I wanted. But if I made a mistake and I wanted to show it, I can do that really easily. I'm just going to zip across into all posts and you'll see that there are some grayed out ones in here as I scroll down. There are some, which are the ones that I've been moderating out of the feed. And so I'm going to go and find Stardew Valley. No, it was below Dali. Below this, here it is. Okay, and I can check, yes, there's the image. And hide from feed has turned into show in feed, and so I can click that, and it's back, and I can hide it again, and it's gone. And if I go into here, this is the feed in the main uh, site. I'm going to scroll down, and you'll see that it is gone. No more Stardew Valley. Yeah, so it was above the nice geese with the daffodils there. What about manually adding a post? So I went on the hunt earlier to find a daffodil post that hadn't made it in here, and I actually couldn't, though I didn't look super hard. But that's a good sign, I think. And so, for the purposes of this tutorial, I thought I'd let some tulips in. And this post had a great tulip picture. So I have the post open and I'm going to click on the three dots and I'm going to click copy link to post and that will give me the post URL. And back in Bluesky Feed Creator, up here, I'm going to use this button, which says Insert Post Manually. If I click it, pops up like this, and I can copy paste that link in. It's going to tell me all of the things that it will do and not do, and I will insert the post. And it says post will be added shortly. So then I can just cancel out of that. Sitting there pending. Okay. So that means that we're just making sure that it's got no labels or anything that we need to be aware of before it goes into the feed. And that usually happens in less than a minute. And here we go. I've also got the post that it was replying to in my daffodil feed. I should note that manually added posts are not subject to your terms. You can put any post that you like into that box and it's going to be included regardless of your excludes or it not matching your includes. This one definitely doesn't match any of my search terms, but it's in here because I've said that it should be in here. Okay, what if I want to include all of the posts from someone? I can do that using my search for terms box up here. So I have found a user and they are a Royal Botanic Garden. So I feel like they'll probably have some good flower content when they start posting. And I can put them on the allowed users list, but that's not what I want just now. If I do that, so the allowed user list lives down here. If I do that, any of their posts will still be subject to my terms. So if they have one of these words in a post, or if they don't have any of these words or these words in a post, they will not be added, being on my approved users list. And so what I'm going to do is input their handle in here. So I'm going to use from colon, and then I'm going to type, or I can copy their handle in like this. And because it's on a new line, the service is going to understand that any posts from them should be treated just like they would treat a post with hashtag daffodils in it. So I'm going to save to make sure that that sticks. And there we go. Now, if I wanted to instead have the Royal Botanics go into my requires approval queue so that I could be filtering through them and saying, does that have a daffodil in it? Yes or no. I could put them into my require approval box. And then it would come into my requires approval queue for me to approve or deny. Finally, I wanted to show you how Auto Moderator works. This is our auto moderator help documentation, which I will drop this link into the description below for you to have a look if you think that auto mod could be good for you. And we have code blocks in here as well, which you can actually copy and paste straight into your own ones and you can adapt them for your own use too. So it's, well, it's not really easy, but it's about as easy as coding can get. And you can use it for lots and lots of things. For my daffodil testing feed here, I don't have anything in there at present. So if I click Manage Auto Moderator, this is what I've got. It's just empty. And here is a relevant post, which I have posted 5 minutes ago using my Waggy Tail testing account. And that is not currently in the feed. And the reason for that is because I said daffodil as opposed to daffodils. And so it will be sitting in my requires approval queue. If I refresh, there it is, waggy tail. Here's a daffodil in my garden. So I could just approve the post happy days, but what I think I can do, I think that there's probably a list of terms which could be good indicators for me to use or for AutoMod to use to decide whether a post like this one is likely to be relevant to my feed's interests. So one of them is garden, which shows up in Wacky Tails post that you can see. And so I would like AutoMod to approve any posts that meet my terms and have any of these words in them. So I have to start with rules, colon. And then I'm going to call my rule auto approve. And then I'm going to set some conditions. So the conditions are like tests, which return yes or no answers. That needs to line up with name. Okay, and then what I need, I'm going to do an any of, and the reason for this is because I want to look at both the post text and I want to look at the alt text. So I'm going to use any here, and then what I have got, I need to tell AutoMod what those conditions are for it to do an action. And so let's start with fact. So the fact is like what is true. So post text includes, and then I'm going to have a list of values underneath that. So there are all of my terms that I want AutoMod to be looking for, and it's going to look for these in the post text. I haven't told it what to do if it finds them yet. Because I've got any up here, I can do another fact, and the other fact is going to be alt text. And I think I can just copy paste these like so, except I'm going to have to move all of this over. I'm going to have to move this over like so. And I'm going to change that to say alt underscore text. These facts here, they need to be written out with no spaces, use an underscore. And I believe in our AutoMod help here, we have got available facts that you can look at, and you can just copy paste from here. And we've also got a list of actions that AutoModerator can take somewhere on here, though I think there it is. Here are the types of action which AutoMod can take. And here is a list of operators. They really require a bit of playing around with to get your head around them, and you should do that. So, any of post text includes any of these, and you'll note that I've got some wildcards in here. So this could be plant, planting, plants, plantation, seed, seeds, seeding. Essentially, the wild card means that any set of letters can be attached to the back of those words. Okay, and I'm not quite done with my rule here. So what I am going to do is tell AutoMod what it should do. So I'm going to say what event should take place. So I've got my event here for Auto Moderator. Also, you can hover over these and it will say what they actually are and what they can be, how you can use them. And I can click save. There's no error message, therefore this appears to have worked. And so what I can do is now go back and test that again with Waggy Tail. Just to reiterate, this is only going to work on posts which have already been brought into my feed by Bluesky Feed Creator, and it's put them into this queue here, especially the requires approval queue. So essentially it's going to take, I'm going to deny this post from Waggy just now. Essentially, it's going to take these out of my requires approval queue if they meet my list of words. But it won't go into Bluesky and grab random posts with garden, star, gardening, gardener, etc. in them. They must also have my daffodil specific terms, which would have brought them into the feed in the first place. So I've clicked save. This is working and it's ready to approve posts for me. Okay, I'm back with Waggy and I'm going to make that same post again. Here's a daffodil in my garden. And this time when I post it, AutoMod should grab it and approve it. Okay, post sent successfully. Happy days. So now we can see it in our post queue. Currently it says pending because it's brand new and it still says approval required. But part of what pending means is that Auto Moderator is looking through the posts and seeing whether it needs to do any actions to it. So in a moment, I should be able to refresh this and see it going into the feed. And as we can see, it now says approved by Auto Moderator. And it's there in the visible in Bluesky queue as well. And there's another helpful queue for us to check out, which is the Auto Moderated queue. And it's in there too. So I can see that it's been approved by Auto Moderator. Any posts that had been denied by Auto Moderator would also be showing up in here. It's just a list of what Auto Moderator has taken action on. So, should also show up in here in my main feed. And there it is. So it's always a good idea to test things when you make changes in the feed, just to make sure that the posts that you think you're grabbing with the changes that you've made are actually going to be grabbed or are actually going to be denied. So I think that's it. I hope you found this helpful. In our next tutorial, we'd like to look at using wildcards and how they can be super helpful for topic-based feeds. And let us know over on Bluesky, handle blueskyfeedcreator.com, if there's anything else that you would like to see a tutorial for.